promises that require urgency. And they have failed to bring that one. And they sat and came so late to claim that they are coming for certificate of urgency. I am against they coming under certificate of urgency at this late hour, because a government must prioritize. What they are doing lack priority. And that is the point I've made.
Honorable Minority Leader, his point of order was based on the rules that you were reading copiously. That is why I am asking you, what is your point of order? Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question therefore is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. Honorable members, can we take the motion number 17? Motion number 17. Yes, Minister for Interior.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Amendment Bill 2025 be now read a second time. And Mr. Speaker, in doing this, I just want to say that we have looked at the number of holidays that we had, and we've gone through them. And as a new government, having in mind some of the promises that we made with regards to the holidays, have restructured the holidays to take away those that, in our view, were controversial, so that we keep those that, as a country, we are unanimous and rallied around. And Mr. Speaker, we are keeping 1st January as New Year Day, 7th January as Constitutional Day, 6th March as Independence Day, March or April for Good Friday for our Christian brothers, March or April as for Easter Monday for our Christian brothers, 1st May as Labor Day, 1st July as Republic Day. It was pushed to commemorative. We believe that this is a very significant day in the life of Ghana that we should not just relegate to the background. And therefore, we are bringing it back as a full holiday. And we believe that as a country, we are united around the 1st July. The 21st, we've taken out the 4th August as the then being termed as Founders Day, because we believe that as a country, we are not unanimous around it, and it's served as a divisive day for us as Ghanaians. So we've taken that out, and we have maintained the 21st September, and now we term that as the Founders Day, which is the date of birth or the birthday of Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the man, the founder of our country, the one who led us into independence. And Mr. Speaker, there's no doubt in our country. Yes, we know that there's no way you can say you go to a fight and you say you carry the fight alone. You may have other commanders, other generals, but the main person who leads you usually will take the credit for all of you. Just as if there's a fall, the person will take the fall for all of you. So we believe that it is Ghanaians are unanimous around the 21st September, which is the birthday of Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Then we have 1st February for our farmers as Farmers Day, and then we have 1st Friday in December as Farmers Day, and then we have 25th December as Christmas Day for our Christian brothers, Then 26th December as Boxing Day for our Christian brothers and sisters. Then we have the date Eid al-Fitr, which is a lunar date. Sometimes it varies. So that is for our Muslim community. And then we have the Shark Day, which we are introducing. That's an additional day for our Muslim community, which is a day after the Eid al-Fitr. Then we have the Eid al-Adha, which is also lunar. And so, Mr. Speaker, when you add this, you will see that our number of holidays become 14. Mr. Speaker, we have looked at the practice around us. And Mr. Speaker, we will say that the number is still not excessive. We are still within our neighbors and the practice around the world. And some of the examples that we have, Mr. Speaker, are that many African countries have higher even number of holidays. And we have Madagascar and Uganda having 19 days for their holidays. They have 19 days in a year. We have Tanzania and Senegal having 18 days in a year. Morocco has 17. Burkina Faso, Egypt, Gambia, Malawi, Niger, and Zambia have 16. And then you have Angola, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Mauritius, Rwanda, and Tunisia having 15. So, Mr. Speaker, when you compare this, you see that our number is still even lower than all this that we have. Mr. Speaker, one other significant thing that is found in this amendment is that we believe that we need to boost tourism in our country. And Mr. Speaker, you will notice that some of our holidays happen in the middle of the week. So you have them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And usually when it happens that way, you see that the day before or the day after, workers take it for granted. Yes. And it lowers productivity. What we intend to do with this amendment is simply to say that if a holiday falls in the middle of the week, that is Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, it should be observed on a Friday. If it falls on Saturday and Sunday, it should be observed on Monday, so that there will be some certainty, and that gives us longevity in the weekend. That will enhance our tourism industry and the Creative Act. Mr. Speaker, lastly, as demanded by the PFM Act, we did the financial analysis, and we realized that with what we are doing and pushing some of the holidays towards the weekend, it is rather going to even enhance our economic activity, and we didn't find that financially it is going to affect our country in any way. So, Mr. Speaker, this is what we have, and I hope that members will support this amendment so that it will be carried out just as the committee recommended. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the motion has been ably moved. I will call on the chairman of the Committee on Defense and Interior to present the report of the committee on the bill.
Mr. Speaker, I associate myself with the motion ably moved by the Minister of the Interior. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I'd crave your indulgence and submit the committee's report. But, Mr. Speaker, for brevity's sake, I would pray that the Hansard Department captures the report in its entirety, whilst I touch on the salient observations the committee made. Mr. Speaker, on page 5 of the report, the committee observed that the proposed amendments, which seeks to empower the President to declare midweek holidays, except religious holidays, to be celebrated on the Monday or Friday, will enhance productivity, reduce disruptions to the work week, reduce absenteeism, and promote a better work-life balance. The committee also noted that the proposed amendments reflect an effort to promote religious equity in the country by ensuring balanced recognition of diverse religious practices, thereby avoiding partiality toward specific religious groups in the celebration of religious holidays. The introduction of the Shak Day as a public holiday will allow Muslims who travel to their home regions for the annual Eid celebrations to travel back to their various work regions. Mr. Speaker, the committee also noted that financial impact analysis had been carried out on the bill, and the results are favorable. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee has thoroughly examined the bill and is convinced that the proposed bill aims at ensuring that the existing framework for public holidays is fair and consistent with best practices. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt this report and pass the Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Amendment Bill 2025 in accordance with Article 106(13) of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and Order 160 of the Standing Orders of the House. I respectfully submit. Thank you.
Honourable members, first one to Standing Order 127. A full debate shall arise on the principles of the bill on the basis of the explanatory memorandum and the report of the committee. Honourable member, before taking the debate, let me suspend the House for 2 minutes. Suspension for 2 minutes. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I thought the motion to adopt the report should be seconded. Then we...
No, at second reading.
Oh, okay.
This is second reading.
Okay.
So, honourable members, the floor is now open for debate. The understanding is we are taking 2-2. Minority leadership. Are we taking 2-2?
Mr. Speaker, it's such an important bill. If we can get 4-4 on both sides. Mr. Speaker, it's an important bill. And then if we, Mr. Speaker, 4-4 should be enough so that members can be able, it's very important. Because you are proposing about 4 different holidays. And for that matter, at least, Mr. Speaker, with respect.
Yes, Deputy Whip.
Mr. Speaker, please should be 2-2 with leadership. Making
So
3.
2-2 with leadership making 3-3. I think, Habib.
Mr. Speaker,
They say 2-2 including leadership. We say 4-4.
And also agents. So if 4 members are having a bite, it shouldn't be a problem. Mr. Speaker, he can do 3-3 and leadership 4. 3-3 and leadership 4.
Well, honourable ranking member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this issue. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I want it to be placed on record that nobody from our side is against any religious grouping having any holiday. To the contrary, Mr. Speaker, we do support. In fact, the promise made to our Muslim brothers was that they were going to be given holidays anytime they celebrated their festivities. That is Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. Here we are having only one holiday being added, that is the Shad. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister found it very convenient to compare our country's number of holidays to other countries in Africa. I was expecting the Honorable Minister to rather compare our level of productivity, because that is what should inform the number of holidays we're going to get. But as it is, he found it very convenient to just compare the holidays. Again, Mr. Speaker, for me, it is sad that year in and year out, we come to this chamber and we debate the contentious issue of honoring our heroes. A country that does not honor its heroes is not a country worth dying for. No member in this chamber, Mr. Speaker, can or will underestimate the role played by Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in our journey for independence. Much the same way, nobody can underestimate the role played by other Ghanaians in our quest for independence. I believe that we should give honor where honor is due. Yes, Dr. Nkrumah played his role. Every Ghanaian is so grateful. And so are men like Akwaje, J.B. Dankwa, Oforiata, and the rest. They also played a role. Mr. Speaker, we are going to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Nkrumah. Well, that I believe was a campaign promise. But I have always maintained that as a country, there should be a time where we come together as a people and look at the collective interest of the generality of the country and not just a section of the country. And so I am of the view that yes, today, the Founders Day is being changed from 4th to 21st, which is Dr. Nkrumah's birthday. Are we going to come back to this chamber when the tables turn to change the day again? Well, Mr. Speaker, we can be here today and shout all that we want, but let us have on record that as long as we remain as a nation, we will have to honor everybody that contributed in writing the history of this country. Mr. Speaker, a day will come when the history of this parliament will be written, or the history of parliament in Ghana will be written. There is no way anybody can take away the role played by the Honorable Right Speaker Abang Babin for having been the first speaker to sit in chair when the government that was in power was from the opposing side. Mr. Speaker, that will be a history. Nobody can change the history. Today, if members find it convenient to change the history of this country, a day will come that history will be rewritten again. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable Habib, you have the floor. We'll come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to add my voice to this matter before the House. Mr. Speaker, and also to state categorically that no one from the minority side is against the holidays or the bill. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, our leader argument against the agency of the bill does not mean he is against the bill itself. It was clear when he was speaking on the principle of the agency of the bill under standing order 163. But it is not the case that we in the minority are against the bill. Mr. Speaker, among many other things on this bill, I think this is the only part that I'll give a 50% commendation to the President of the Republic for fulfilling at least a campaign promise. During the campaign, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President John Mahama, said they will add an additional day to the Eid. Mr. Speaker, we don't have one Eid. We have the Eid al-Fitr and we have the Eid al-Adha. But if you look at the bill that the Minister responsible for Interior presented to the House, it is only capturing another day in addition to the already existing day in the Eid al-Fitr. But none has been captured in the Eid al-Adha. Mr. Speaker, yes, the President and the government must be commended for adding an additional day to the Eid al-Fitr, and I think that it is something that I'll join my colleagues in Ghana and the Muslim community to say a very big thank you to the President for doing this. But it was incomplete as part of the promise that he said to Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the memorandum of the bill, there is an attachment that a cabinet from the Secretary of Cabinet, to the effect that they are only adding the one extra day to the Eid al-Fitr. It's not enough. When the Minister responsible for Interior is a Muslim and at Cabinet, the Minister responsible for Education, a Muslim and also at Cabinet, the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology is also a Cabinet Minister, and the majority leader, the first Muslim majority leader of this Parliament, that you know the importance of Eid al-Adha. Mr. Speaker, Eid al-Adha is so important to an extent that it is the climax of the fifth pillar of Islam, that is Hajj. The climax of it needs a lot of days. Mr. Speaker, this is the Eid that we slaughter either cows or whatever you can afford. Mr. Speaker, on that very day that you slaughter the cows, the next day you are, arranging things. Mr. Speaker, the Education Minister slaughtered a lot of cows and sheep during this year in the Adha. He spent a lot of days in preparing it. Mr. Speaker, the Eid al-Adha is so important to Muslims as though the Eid al-Fitr is equally important. Mr. Speaker, and when we come to the consideration stage, I'll be proposing an amendment. And I'm calling on my colleagues to join me in this amendment. And that amendment also seeks to add the Tashriq, which is the day after the Eid al-Adha. Because this amendment, in this current form, intend adding Shak Day, which is the day before the Eid al-Fitr. So we can amend, because it's an act of Parliament, and Parliament is within the law to amend it so that we can add Tashriq to the day, that is the day after Eid al-Adha, so that we can have the Shak, which is the day before the Eid al-Fitr, and the Tashriq, that is the day after the Eid al-Adha. The Muslim community will be happy. Mr. Speaker, the Muslim community wrote to the President through Cabinet to inform him that we will be very happy if he give us the extra day for these two Eid. Yes, the President has fulfilled one, and we think that it is very necessary that he add the other one. My senior colleague, Honorable Mutala, is a very he's a scholar when it comes to many Islamic things, and he's a member of Cabinet. I'm very surprised that he could not raise this matter at Cabinet. I'm very surprised that the majority leader could not add his voice on this. Mr. Speaker, in Islamic jurisprudence, recognize Eid al-Adha as a greater part of the two Eid. Mr. Speaker, aligning a public holiday to include an extra day in the Eid al-Adha will be a very significant to the Muslim community. The President, when he was opening cutting short for the construction of the Hajj village, he said, I am adding extra day to the Eid celebration. So the Muslim community said, Eid, mean both Eid. That is how the Muslim community is taking it. So to add only a day to Eid al-Fitr without adding an extra day to Eid al-Adha, the Muslim community will think that it is a half promise that is being filled. And I want to call on my colleagues and indicate, Mr. Speaker, that when we get to the consideration stage, I'll be proposing an amendment to add the Tashriq to the Eid al-Adha. And Mr. Speaker, the other holidays that the Interior Minister, the name changing and the name calling, to the effect that you are cancelling Founders Day and you are introducing our President Kwame Nkrumah Day, it is definitely that's not going to be a consensus. The UGCC, if you are talking about Founders Day, that is part of it, the Founder Day. And now you are going to single out it to an individual, our former President Kwame Nkrumah. But there were other important people throughout the struggle of our independence who have contributed their quota to the development of this country. Where we are and where we have reached, a lot of people. So, Minister, changing the name will not be a consensus building. Changing the name to say that it is going to be called Kwame Nkrumah name, it is something that's not going to do. Mr. Speaker, I think that the Interior Minister should look at it again. Rather than that, we will be changing names and continue to change names. And in 3.5 years' time, when we come on this side, we will also change the name. I thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Muntala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to support the motion, the bill. Mr. Speaker, I thought we were going to engage in this debate without some of the political nuances or partisan nuances that we have heard from our friends. It is true that when we are talking about the political history of this country, we need to talk about it to the fullest. I agree. I did some history, level 100, level 200 in University of Ghana. And I had the privileged opportunity to be taught by no less a person than Professor Adofeni. And as part of the definitions of history, there are some scholars who have defined history as concocted lies to form facts.
Go ahead.
And I think that that is what concocted lies to form facts. I think that there are some scholars. Let me be. Can I finish? Oh, so you want the source? Mr. Speaker, they should go and read the SHS history book. They should go and read that. And in fact, topics in West African history, written by no less a person than Professor Edu Boahin. They should go and read their writings. But you see, but what other source do you want? So, Mr. Speaker, that is the source. So I think that what we have seen today is a perfect description of history could be defined as concocted lies to form facts. And we have seen that across the aisle, that they have focused on that aspects of definition of history, which is roundly condemned by many historians. But let me be very clear. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we talk about Nkrumah, and the reason why when we talk about the history of this country, we do so because there is always an effort by our friends from the other side to rewrite the political history of this country. Need I remind you that even after Nkrumah was illegally and unjustifiably overthrown, Nkrumah's mother, who was barely blind over 80 years, the woman was dragged to appear before commission after commission. And you know what they wanted the woman to say? That the woman should say Nkrumah was not her biological son. These are historical facts. And that Nkrumah was a Liberian. These are historical facts. You can check it from the Hansard of even Parliament. You don't read, and it is not my fault that you do not read. I'm saying that Nkrumah's mother was dragged. Mr. Speaker, I'm giving a time when they were speaking. You see, there is a popular
Honorable
prophet
Muntala.
that when you take...
Honorable Muntala, I will recognize Honorable Animedu Enchi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this matter is very serious. And I think my brother is misleading the House. He can't go and read any uncredible story from anywhere and come and make allegations, wild allegation, and there's no source. And he's just saying Nkrumah's mother was being coerced into saying that is this. I've never heard it. Where did he get it from? He should prove it. Prove it and give us a source.
Honorable Muntala.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Muntala Mohammed,
Mr. Speaker, it is
with
not my
all
fault.
due respect, the debate must be centered on the principles underpinning the bill and the committee's reports. So please stick to the report and the memorandum underpinning the bill.
Mr. Speaker, part of what we are considering today is the Founders' Day. And you cannot talk about the Founders' Day of this country without talking about the founder, the only founder of the present-day Ghana. And I'm saying that the reason why emphasis is put on Nkrumah, because there have been several attempts. And when I say appear before commission after commission, this was not done in some bush somewhere. Commissions established by the NLC, that group of criminals who unjustifiably and criminally truncated democratic process. Anybody who truncates democratic processes is a criminal. I'm saying that he appeared before commission after
Honorable members.
Of course.
Honorable Muntala.
Look, the 1992
Honorable Muntala.
Constitution.
Honorable Muntala Mohammed, please. All statements relating to criminal, accordingly, they are expunged from the record.
Mr. Speaker, anybody who truncates, Mr. Speaker, anybody who truncates democratic process is a criminal. That is a fact. That is a fact. As a matter of fact, the 1992 Constitution, well, I'll make the points anyway. I will make the points anyway.
Yes, Honorable Nitiwul. Are you on a point of order? Are you on point of order?
Yes.
Else I'll give you the floor to speak. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, arise on the point of order of based on your ruling the last time. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that my honorable colleague has the right to debate forcefully, but we should learn from history. Mr. Speaker, we regret the last time what happened. I think we are going back to that same thing again. Mr. Speaker. I was the same person. Mr. Speaker, I will urge, at least I've been in this house for 20-something years, I will urge that my colleague does not provoke people to say things that will bring pain to people in this house. It will not be good for people to say things or respond that will bring pain to people in this house. I beg you, please, I beg you, just stay away from it. It won't help anybody. Honorable, if people want to get up and say things, it will bring a lot of pain to this house. So I beg you, please, stay out of it.
Yes, Honorable Muntala, your statement referring to anybody as criminal, please withdraw.
Well, Mr. Speaker, everything I said here.
Honorable Muntala, kindly withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw. But let me make my points. Mr. Speaker, did I hear?
Speaker, sit down.
Mr. Speaker. Why are you supporting a military coup? Are you supporting a military coup? Is that why you're supporting? Supporting a military coup.
Honorable members, may you resume your seats. Honorable members, may you resume your seats. Honorable members, may you kindly resume your seats. Honorable Muntala, once again, limit yourself to the memorandum accompanying the bill and the report of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I think that I remember when I was a student at Kulkuli School. Thankfully, my senior brother, Honorable Harun Idrisu, attended Kulkuli School. On each day, we were forced to go to school. It took the NDC, the National Democratic Party, the National Democratic Congress. Oh well, I'm not a paragon of knowledge, unlike you. The National Democratic Congress, to ensure that there was social justice and equity in a country that is constitutionally described as a secular state, that the NDC gave us our first holiday, thanks to the NDC. As Muslims in this country, because my brother was telling me, mentioning the number of Muslims at cabinet, I never knew that cabinet ministers are more influential than vice presidents.
Tell him.
We had a vice president who was a Muslim for 8 years. He didn't see the need. Now you are now mentioning our names. That Honorable Harun Idrisu, Honorable Mutaka, Honorable Mutala are Muslims at cabinet. We had a vice president. He didn't see the need. So it tells you the beauty of this country. It tells you how accommodating Ghanaians are. It tells you why we have become an oasis in turmoil. That if you go through social media, everybody points to Ghana and says that this is the country I would want to be. that you find in churches, programs, you find Muslims who are attending, you find in mosques, you find Christians who are attending, traditional worshippers. That makes us a state. But this idea of trying to bring about religious justifications and why you think that as Muslims we should have done that, I leave that to the Ghanaian public who are watching live across the globe. The NDC has always demonstrated that everybody in this country should be treated equally. And for us as NDC, this particular holiday which is given to us, for me, is a relief. Because I still remember as a little boy attending school, that the agony I went through to go to school on Eid Day when my colleagues were celebrating. We can only thank His Excellency President Mahama and thank the National Democratic Congress. And Right Honorable Speaker, that explains why, even though my grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the UP tradition, the more I read about the political history of this country, the more I gravitate towards the only political party that ensures social justice and equity, and that is the National Democratic Congress. Right Honorable Speaker, I would conclude by saying, yes, we need to talk about the history of this country, but history is properly told when you acknowledge both the positives and the negatives. Nkrumah is the founder. Nkrumah was a judge, that African of the millennium, not African of 10 years, 100 years. And he was a judge by no less a group than the entire continent of Africa. BBC voted him. Who changed the Founders' Day in the first place? Who changed it? What the NDC and President Mahama is seeking to do is to correct the wrongs that were emotionally driven, wrongs that were not driven by social justice and proper conduct, which is expected of politicians. President Mahama is changing it. So the threat that what happens should the tables, change, when you do that, and hopefully, that will take a very, very long time. The people of this country, they ensure that they slept with an itching anus. It is their baggage to carry. And that is why the frustration is found everywhere in the faces of my honorable good friends. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Suhini.
Well, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion. Mr. Speaker, I was taken aback when I listened to the minority leader, and like Pontius Pilate, he sought to disassociate his side from the decision that this House was about to take in relation to these holidays. Mr. Speaker, I would have taken it lightly, perhaps if it was coming from one of their colleagues, Honorable Stephen Amua.
Yes, Honorable Minority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I was shocked.
Honorable Suhini, I recognize Honorable Minority Leader. Yes, Honorable Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, when I spoke,
Honorable Stephen Amua, what is the problem? Honorable Stephen Amua. Honorable Stephen Amua, what is the problem? When your leader is up, and you are also up, please, Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Hansa, you can come. Mr. Speaker, I am right here in this chamber, and I will not sit for any member of Parliament to attempt an interpretation of what I have said and try to spin it. Mr. Speaker, I rose at a point where the committee had presented a report for us to consider this bill through a certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, my argument was to the effect that nothing has suddenly arisen for the Minister of Interior to suddenly invite this House to proceed on that path. Indeed, the Minister has always known that this law existed. And if the government was minded, it would have proceeded ahead of time. I then went on to say that if indeed the government intends to make priorities, there are promises, socio-economic promises, and I went ahead to list them. So, Mr. Speaker, earlier the majority leader made a submission. I took it as the usual politics when we talk. Sometimes these things happen. But, Mr. Speaker, the path the colleague, the deputy minister, has taken to say or to suggest that I got up to oppose the bill is unsupported by my submission. My submission was in opposition to the agency that he has introduced to say that these things have always been there and that he should have moved on the path far earlier than coming now.
Honorable Minority Leader,
if you was, Mr. Speaker,
on that score, you are right. You are right.
So, Mr. Speaker, please
Honorable
direct him
Honorable
to do the right
Soini,
thing, not to misquote.
we are supposed to debate the principles,
not to misquote.
the rationale accompanying the bill as well as the report.
You shouldn't misquote me.
Please, let's stick to the rules.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for your guidance. Mr. Speaker, I was speaking to the principles. I just thought that I should respond to a few things that he said. But, Mr. Speaker, I take the
we have passed the stage of the determination of the agency or otherwise of the bill.
I take the restating of his position. Mr. Speaker, I take the restating of his position and I'll debate it. I will not debate it further. But, Mr. Speaker, I will want to also say that I am particularly excited that this bill is going to ensure that another holiday is added to Muslims as we celebrate Eid in this country. Mr. Speaker, and it is urgent. Why? Because only a couple of weeks ago, this nation had to celebrate Eid al-Adha. And because this bill had not been considered, the president had to issue an executive instrument for that to be done. So, Mr. Speaker, to say that he doesn't see the urgency is to miss the point that this bill is even late.
Honorable Soini, please be guided. The earlier motion moved was to determine the urgency or otherwise. We put a question on that after the debate and the motion was carried out. Now, this motion was for the second reading, and at the second reading stage, nothing is supposed to happen than debating the principle, the rationales accompanying the bill, as well as the report of the committee. So please.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm guided. Mr. Speaker, so the point I need to make is that this is very important and this is coming at a very good time. Mr. Speaker, it will ensure that the next Eid celebration will not require the President to issue an executive instrument. Mr. Speaker, and it is also particularly important because we have had a situation in this country where in the past, it became politically correct for people to ask to use religion for votes. Unfortunately, they were not able to meet this expectation of Muslims. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that once again Ghana is demonstrating that it does not matter what religion you worship. If you are chosen as a leader, you will act fairly towards all manner of people in this country. Because as we speak, we have a Christian president, we have a Christian vice president who at cabinet, together with some Muslim cabinet ministers, decided that this promise had to be fulfilled. And that for me is a plus in the feather of Ghana. That for me is a plus for our democracy. And that should go to the politicians who often campaign based on religious affiliations, so that they can understand that what we need in this country is leadership. And that leadership, when it is provided by even a Buddhist, that person will get the support of all Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, however, I would have wished that this particular holiday, even as it is just one, be assigned to Eid al-Adha. And that is where perhaps, Mr. Speaker, I agree with the argument made earlier by the Deputy Whip of the minority, that if you look at the celebration of Eid al-Fitr and the celebration of Eid al-Adha, in my view personally, Mr. Speaker, I think that an additional holiday being added to Eid al-Adha will make more impact than Eid al-Fitr. And Mr. Speaker, this is a personal, observation, and it is my hope that subsequently, perhaps when an amendment is brought, or when it becomes necessary for a government to consider an additional holiday, we will assign it to Eid al-Adha. Mr. Speaker, I say so because, yes, both holidays are lunar guided, but Eid al-Adha, according to the religion of Islam, takes about 3 days to celebrate. So you have the day of prayer, and you also have the day of sacrifice. So, Mr. Speaker, if we have an additional holiday that is assigned to Eid al-Adha, it will cater for the day for sacrifice. I often liken this to the Christian celebration of Christmas and Boxing Day, where on Christmas Day it is used to celebrate the birth of Christ, and on 26th, Boxing Day is used to share gifts. It is likened to Eid al-Adha in that manner, that on the prayer day, when it is guided by the lunar calendar, you go to the mosque to pray. The next day is often for sacrifice, and that is the day the animal that you sacrifice to share to God and to the neighbors is also done, like boxing. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my suggestion that in future, when we consider another holiday, or when it becomes necessary for us to amend this, we ensure that we add another holiday, or we shift this holiday from Eid al-Fitr to Eid al-Adha. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to commend the government for resetting the celebration of Founders Day to its original, status. Mr. Speaker, it is common knowledge that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Osajefo has, over the years, proven all critics wrong and risen above all the damnation to be accepted globally and internationally as the founder of this nation. And so it is quite, disingenuous that we still have some people who want to undermine the name of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Clearly, in every team, it takes the team to achieve results, but there is always a leader. And that is why even the Ghana Black Stars, we will tell you about the Abedi Peles, will tell you about the Stephen Appiers. There will always be a captain of a team. And it is clear that in our history, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the captain and deserves that recognition. And when we talk about our founders, he must be the primus inter pares. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I thank you very much, and I call on my colleagues to support the passage of this bill so that we can enjoy these holidays, to reflect on the future of this country, and also to reflect on the work ahead for all of us to do in building this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Nitiwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I write to support...
Honorable Stephen Amwa, why are you always up? Yes, Honorable Nitiwood, you have the floor.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that this has passed so that his name doesn't get mentioned again. But, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion and also to put on record, as the minority leader has already stated, that the agency of the bill is what this House spoke about. But the substance of the bill is good for everybody. But that is not to say that
we will not raise critical issues for us to discuss as people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the first critical issue we want to ask is, we have had 4 republics, 4, in our nation's history. The longest running republic is the 4th republic. So, if you really want to celebrate a Republic Day, which one will you celebrate? The longest running and the most stable one is the 4th Republic. We have the 1st Republic, we have had the 2nd Republic, we have had the 3rd Republic, and this is the 4th Republic. The longest running and the most stable has been the 4th Republic. So if you really want to celebrate a Republic Day as a country, which one will we go for as people, regardless of the political differences we have? And so I think that the debate should not be about emotions, but the debate should be about what is good for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it is good to give our brothers, the Muslims, another holiday. It's very important. They would be able to tell us which one would be better. But like the minister himself is a Muslim, maybe he's looked at both the Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha and thought that giving an additional holiday to Eid al-Fitr would have been better. There are some who believe that it would have been tidier to make Eid al-Adha another holiday instead of giving Eid al-Fitr 2 holidays. But in principle, Mr. Speaker, this side of the House, and I believe the entire House, supported that we should do that. After all, there are 2 major religions. It's not about the numbers that are involved. It's about the fact there are 2 major religions in this world. From our side of the divide, when I say our side of being human beings, if you go to China and you talk about Christian and Muslim, they will not say that they are major religions. If you go to India, they may not say they are. But when you come to Africa, there are 2 major religions: Christianity and Muslim religion. They are the 2. Forget about the numbers. And so, no, there are 2. Mr. Speaker, we've moved beyond traditional religion. There are about some 5% of Ghanaians who are traditionalists. Nobody is discounting them, but the fact is that there are 2 major religions. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why if we decide to give both religions holidays, nobody will argue about it. But it is about how, when, and what you use that holiday for. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, I still want to go back to this issue of Kwame Nkrumah and the Founders' Day. People have always whipped up sentiments. And so in the analysis, they miss a lot of things. In many countries, especially Southern African countries, they celebrate the birthday of Kwame Nkrumah. And I think that is what Ghanaians should be looking at. That the person who led the independence and got the independence, there were many people who fought for the independence, but the person who ultimately was the one who stood and took the independence for this republic was Kwame Nkrumah. We all know that. And so many nations, including Ghana, should be celebrating him, and the birthday of Kwame Nkrumah should be made a holiday. Nobody's going to be against it. But Mr. Speaker, let nobody be deceived. Let nobody be deceived, Mr. Speaker, that the man who gave Kwame Nkrumah money to come down to Ghana didn't play a role. Mr. Speaker, let nobody be deceived. That Kwame Nkrumah, who took money,
Honorable Nitiwul,
yes,
you are here when I admonish that at this particular level, the debate should be centered on the memorandum and the report of the committee.
I'll move away from there. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'll go back to the memorandum, but I just wanted to set some record straight. I wanted to set some record straight, but I'll move away. I'll take your advice and move away. Mr. Speaker, I think that it is good to honor our heroes. So honoring Kwame Nkrumah is a very good thing for all of us. And I believe that when we're all kids, we sang the praises of Kwame Nkrumah. Even as adults, we are all singing the praises of Kwame Nkrumah and all the people who suffered. And we are still honoring everybody. I will honor every one of them that suffered for Ghana, including you, Mr. Speaker. We all do that. And so for me, I'll give honor to everybody. But we recognize that Kwame Nkrumah was the one who ultimately stood and we got the independence. So we'll celebrate him on his birthday. That I agree. I don't have a problem with that. Mr. Speaker, I will say also that it is important to use occasions like this to unite the nation. And it must start from this house. It seems any time we get the opportunity to debate our history, we turn out by creating problems for ourselves rather than uniting the nation. Maybe it is because of politics. Maybe not. But I can say that we should be very careful. We should be careful because today we are MPs, tomorrow we are not. Mr. Speaker, those who began in 92, I don't believe anyone is still here. In fact, those who began in 2000, only Collins Dada and one or two are around. Then we came and joined them along the way before 2004. Just a few people are around. So the life cycle of the service of a member of parliament is very short in Ghana. The little impact we want to make, we should make. And so I want to congratulate my friend, the Minister for the Interior, for bringing this bill to the House. But I also say to you that as you seek to give people more days to enjoy themselves as holy days, let's also find a way of using one of the days, like the commemorative day, to see what we can do as Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, the worst thing anybody can do to himself, and the worst thing Ghana is doing to ourselves, is the fact that we are retrogressing from a nation into tribes. And that is the problem that Ghana we are retrogressing from being a nation into tribes. And so people are more loyal to their tribes today than 10 years ago. People are more loyal to their tribes today than 20 years ago. In fact, Mr. Speaker, 1970s and 80s and 90s, people were more loyal to the nation Ghana than today. And I thought that as the nations grow, it should have been a change. And so use the occasions that we have, use the commemorative days that we have to see what we can do to be able to get Ghana as a country. Holidays are good, yes, but to what end? Holidays are good, but to what end? Trust me, by the time that the news gets out here, news will be talking about how people are fighting over whether Kwame Nkrumah is a founder or not. That's all people will be fighting about. That's what will go out. But then, the essence of the bill, the essence of why this bill came, and the reasons why this bill came, Mr. Speaker, will be lost on all of us. We will not be able to get exactly why this bill came, because at the end of the day, the memorandum to the bill spelled out the reasons why they need this bill, and why the minister chose to do two holidays for Eid al-Fitr instead of another one for Eid al-Adha. And I think that I'll look at the memorandum again, and then at the end of this particular debate, maybe one will come to the consideration stage. We'll see whether we'll propose amendments to this particular bill or not. And I hope that the minister would understand us when we begin to look at it and see whether there is a chance that we can propose amendments that will meet the majority. Because, like it or not, you have the numbers to do what you want. But I hope that you will listen to our wisdom as well, and then agree when the wisdom comes. But, Mr. Speaker, have we counted the number of holidays that we have in Ghana? 14. There are not many. So, Mr. Speaker, I still say that we should be careful as a state that we don't use history to devour ourselves. It's not necessary. Because if we want to debate about history, there are many things that people are missing, and people will get missing. You said we should move away from it, so I will not say. But I'll conclude by saying that people should go and find out who the ringleaders of the 1966 coup were and where they came from. Where they came from and who they are tied to. Then you will understand what it is. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. So, Honorable Leader, will you yield to Honorable Animedu Entry?
Right.
Minority Leader, will you yield to Animedu Entry?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I would want to go back to the report that is under consideration. And Mr. Speaker, when we discussed the financial impact analysis, I think what should have been added, and the minister said it, amongst other things, that when we shift the holidays from the middle of the week to a weekend, it brings or promotes productivity. This is omitted. If we are talking about tourism alone, then we must as well say that all vacations, we should forget about everything and do holidays alone. Then we could go by tourism. But the minister said, yes, we are moving this to a weekend, and that promotes productivity. So with your leave, Mr. Speaker, I would want that to be added. Then again, at page 7 of the report, conclusion, the last sentence, Mr. Speaker, after therefore, I would want the word unanimously to be inserted. The committee therefore unanimously recommends to the House to adopt this report. Now, Mr. Speaker, finally, there is a point that I would want to draw our attention to. After what had been said by my colleague, I will associate myself with the honorable member who spoke lastly. But, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the bill itself, the memorandum to the bill, how come I wouldn't, something comes to mind. Something comes to mind that my paper is lost. Yes, the memorandum to the bill, the minister had said, Mr. Speaker, that and I read the last but one paragraph to the memorandum. It says, in addition, the bill seeks to provide for the removal of the celebration of Founders' Day, which is founder, singular, apostrophe S, on 4th August as a public holiday, and rename Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day as Founders, apostrophe after S, Founders' Day, which is to be celebrated on 21st September. Mr. Speaker, as a committee, since we couldn't correct the memorandum, I would have thought that we would follow suit with the substance of the bill. Here we are, debate, a whole debate on apostrophe, where to place it, either after R or after S. Mr. Speaker, what are we doing to ourselves as politicians? There is this house that now Ghanaians are not sure whether we call it Jubilee House or Flagstaff House. Up to date, this party comes in and says it is Flagstaff House. Another person comes and says that it is Jubilee House. Can't we settle it?
Probably you will come and say Animedu House.
Mr. Speaker, on Founder or Founders' Day, I would have thought that if we can come to consensus, it is agreed that the 21st September would be a day which is Kwame Nkrumah's birthday. But if we say it is a Founders after the apostrophe being placed after S, I think we'll be doing ourselves good as a nation. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much. Let me thank the Interior Minister for pushing this through Cabinet and to this House. So, Speaker, this bill effectively corrects historical distortions and sets us on the path to ensure that our children and future generations will get Ghana's history right. First, the bill observes the Republic Day on 1st of July, as a public holiday and not a commemorative day. And this is very, very important, Mr. Speaker. That Republic Day is what sets Ghana as truly a country that is truly independent, that can assert itself diplomatically around the world. And you can't talk about Republic Day without understanding what it took to get us on that July 1st. Mr. Speaker, secondly, it talks about the bill renames Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day as Founders Day. The Speaker has often said that history cannot be distorted. Today, what President John Mahama and the NDC is leading this House to do is to set Ghana's history right. And today, what we are all agreeing is that, yes, we had a lot of leaders who contributed to Ghana's independence. But the man of the millennium, the African of the millennium, the man who has been described as your Sajifo, is really the founder of modern Ghana. And that's what we are doing today. Mr. Speaker, let me read briefly what the bill says here. And it's clear. It says, it is intended to restore historical integrity and national consensus regarding the leadership of His Excellency Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in the attainment of the independence of this country. Mr. Speaker, I think that on a yearly basis I've stood on this hallowed ground to call for this day to come, to ensure that we as a country will accept collectively that the role of Osajifo, the man who stands tall, his statue at the AU, the man who galvanized the African continent on a forward march to independence, the man that called Africa for economic emancipation, the journey that was derailed, the reason we struggle today. Today, we are collectively recalling history, and I know Osajifo will be smiling in his grave that on the 21st of September, the people of Ghana will break and honor his leadership. I know his poor mother, Nyaniba, who was brutally abused and died in pain, will look back.
Honorable Minister,
withdrawn.
Honorable Minister,
Withdrawn.
I have admonished very well.
Honorable Speaker, I think we must all agree that Ghana is finally on the right path in making sure that we correct our history. And in correcting our history, we are going to collectively agree that events that led to the independence of Ghana, those events cannot be rewritten by a regime. Those events have been cemented in history, and that future governments that will come must learn the lesson. Yes. That Ghana's history, the Republic Day, the role of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah can never be revised. And that if we ever try to distort it, Ghanaians will always go back to the true history of Ghana. And today, we collectively honor Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah as the founder of the Republic of Ghana. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the debate on the floor. Mr. Speaker, there is everything good in honoring the heroes of a nation. So proposing a holiday to honor those who have served our country is right. However, Mr. Speaker, in this chamber, I believe what is probably dividing us in how we approach this decision to honor our heroes. I listened to the nostalgic and forceful submissions by my respected colleague Emmanuel Amakofibua of Elembele. And I agree with him with the very strong submissions he made about Nkrumah. And I want to adopt same as though they were mine. However, Mr. Speaker, I have some points of disagreement as to how selective sometimes we appear to be in identifying who our heroes are. Mr. Speaker, the independence that we talk about wasn't just a day's event. It was a process that was initiated by some nationalists way before the 1900s. My own great-grandfather, Nana Gate, was part of the Fanti Confederacy, a nationalist. He was part of that movement for self-rule. So, Mr. Speaker, the argument that in honoring our heroes, let us look at it collective, cannot be misplaced. The argument is not to say that Nkrumah's contribution to history should be washed away. Never, never, and never. The argument on this side of the house is that there was a collective effort. What has become of the new boy Sikan, who actually was the brain behind the 1948, I will call it, the awareness, the uprising that led to the Big Six being arrested and being detained? What has become of him? Mr. Speaker, are we saying those who gave impetus to the whole movement are forgotten heroes? Mr. Speaker, if we continue to look at it from a partisan lens, we will continue to amend our laws on every electoral cycle depending on who wins. But let's pause for a moment. Look at us in this chamber, our various contributions in our various constituencies. And somebody one day comes and says that, oh, it is only one particular person who is to be picked out of the lot for recognition. Obviously, some people would express some dissenting opinions, views. So, Mr. Speaker, it's not all about those who are for or against Nkrumah. It's about a holistic approach, a nationalistic view of the matter. And I think that is where I mount my submissions.
So, Minority Leader, are you talking about Ni Kobna Boni or
Yes,
Ni
Mr. Speaker, I've just been aided. And I thank the bench. Mr. Speaker, I thank the chair for that. I appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, such diplomacy will be healthy for our relationship. Mr. Speaker, people don't know we are a family. They say we're always fighting. Mr. Speaker, the name is Ni Kwabna Boni. That's the correct name. He was a chief, was he? Yes, Ofosu. Mr. Clark, I thank you for your industry. History will remember you. Well, Mr. Camilo, prince, your crown prince, is saying that he supported the research. Mr. Speaker, Ni Kwabna Bone, that brave chief from Osu, and of course the records has it that he was also a businessman. He played a major role. In our various constituencies, we know what we did. Mr. Speaker, not to single out our member of parliament for Asin North. We were in his constituency to campaign. Of course, not for him. Mr. Speaker, everywhere we went, every village, and I took note of that. It wasn't about him, but about what his father did many years ago. And people were mentioning his father's name. Mr. Speaker, such cannot be taken away from him, because that was the history his dad made by serving his people. In various communities in this country, we know the role that people have played. So, Mr. Speaker, on the score of recognition, I do not think that we should limit ourselves. We should acknowledge our founders as a collective. That is my view. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of celebrating our brothers who are of the Islamic faith, Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Nitiwu submitted, two main religions are being recognized by us as a nation. Although in Ghana we say we are largely Christians and Muslims, but I know that we are also deep-rooted in our tradition. And many Ghanaians still believe in the traditional religion, but that's for another day. Mr. Speaker, honoring them with a holiday will not be a thing that I will oppose. We have to honor. But Mr. Speaker, we would have to also pay attention to certain obligations imposed upon us by the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, if you read Article 24, it talks about economic rights. You talk about Article 25, educational rights. You talk about 27, Article 27, women's rights. You talk about Article 28, children's rights. Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of this submission, I would want to argue with all the force in me that whereas we are desirous of coming out with these holidays through such enactment to honor those with different faith, we must equally focus on how we can empower our people, even as we give them the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of their faith. Mr. Speaker, in the end, if our Muslim brothers and sisters are impoverished, how would they even enjoy the holiday we are giving them? I would encourage that beyond this, let us create economic empowerment tools for them in the various Zongo communities, in the various communities where the Muslim community is very much populated. Our women Muslims, we should go beyond this and support them because they are suffering. Our children from Muslim homes where poverty is denying them the opportunity to have the better part of life, we should channel resources to support these communities. We shouldn't treat it as belated priorities. It should be part of the very governance. Because, Mr. Speaker, if we don't do this, we may be deviating from our raison d'etre, because we have a mandate not only to provide the comforts, the holidays, but the mandate primarily also deals with giving an opportunity for the realization of economic rights. Mr. Speaker, the poverty levels in the country are beyond imagination. The unemployment, it is a burden to all of us. We have a duty as a people. Even us, we have these holidays. We are recognizing Founders Day. We are adding on to holidays. We are amending. Whilst we see these as a priority, let us also be mindful of what the Constitution enjoins us to do. Equal opportunities for those who have graduated from our schools, the many youths who are looking forward to employment in both the public sector and the private sector. As a political class, we should also tell ourselves, what can we do to create an enabling environment in the private sector for businesses to thrive so that they can take on more and more of our people who are unemployed. For me, that is the burden of this call. That is the burden of my call. That is the burden of the call of this side of the house. So that in the end, whilst we enjoy our holidays, we will finish and go back to work. We will finish and know that we've also been economically empowered and not just been given a holiday. Mr. Speaker, without more, I would want to thank you for the opportunity, thank colleagues for their indulgence, and say that the minister may, in the end, pursue his bill, but should take all that we've said into consideration. Other ministers whose jurisdiction are related to some of the economic rights issues we've raised must also take these sentiments of the House on board and, without delay, introduce the appropriate legislations that will lead to the realization of the dreams of our people. Mr. Speaker, I shall thank you and resume my seat.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Minister for the Interior for bringing this bill and taking it under a certificate of urgency so that we can expeditiously approve it and have the President give his assent. Mr. Speaker, I will be very, very brief. There has been this debate about Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. If we're adding one day to Eid al-Fitr, why are we not adding one day to Eid al-Adha? Mr. Speaker, people have forgotten that year after year, we've always had a situation where some sections of the Muslim community will celebrate the Eid on a holiday and another section will celebrate it on a working day. That has been a problem for so many years. Even when the Muslim community was given a holiday to mark the Eid, what usually happened was that because the determination of the day is based on the sighting of the moon, one Muslim leader will say that he hasn't sighted the moon yet. And because he hasn't sighted the moon yet, he will not pray on the date that government has designated as the holiday for the celebration of the Eid. So he will make his congregation observe the Eid on a different date from the rest of the Muslim community. And that different date invariably, unless it is a weekend, it invariably fell on a weekday. So that section of the Muslim community will be compelled to observe Eid on a working day. So it became inconvenient. So in the case of Eid al-Fitr, it is indeed appropriate that we create that allowance where it is 2 days and you can play with the dates and allow all sections at least to have a longer period within which to celebrate. So I endorse this vision. And in addition, it also came at the end of 30 days, sometimes 29 days of fasting, and the last, 10 days of extensive midnight prayers. And the Muslim community got very exhausted at the end of it. And the last day, upon very short notice of sighting the moon, you had to expeditiously put in place a program to be able to observe the Eid and the celebrations. So that again has been very, very inconvenient. And so His Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, whilst campaigning and on the entreaties of Muslim leaders, did promise that when NDC comes into office, we will add one additional day to take care of these inconveniences and the nature of Eid al-Fitr, which makes it commendable to have an additional holiday for that. Of course, I'm not opposed to adding another day for Eid al-Adha, just as we have for Boxing Day when it comes to the celebration of Christmas. Because we have Easter, which will be a holiday, and yet at Christmas we also have a Boxing Day in addition to Christmas Day. But let's move progressively as a country, one step at a time. So I entreat members, we as Muslims have toyed with the idea of even amending it in this house to forcefully add a second day for Eid al-Adha, but we are holding back in order that we build national consensus on these matters. So I urge colleagues who have been coming to whisper to me and pleading that why don't we just do it once and for all, add another day, that these matters require building national consensus, extensive consultation among the major religious leaders. You don't just get up and impose a national holiday without consulting the Catholics, without consulting the Presbyterians, without consulting the different sections of the Muslim community. You can't just sit in Parliament and just impose a day. So I urge colleagues, let's be restrained. Let's take what we have now, which is just one additional day for the Eid al-Fitr. The second principle informing this bill is the mismanagement of holidays. When a holiday occurs and it is a Thursday, automatically Ghanaians will appropriate the Friday and add it. And on the Wednesday, we'll do half day. Same way, if a holiday is supposed to be, let's say, a Wednesday, then it is a problem. So to give the president latitude to manage the country in such a way that we more efficiently manage our holidays, we are introducing a provision in our law that says that if a holiday has a day between it and the weekend, then the president has the discretion of, instead of allowing it to be midweek, to move it to the day before the weekend so that you can have a long weekend. So the long weekend enables efficiency. It gives people opportunity to actually go on a long vacation, travel, to meet families and etc. So it is this efficiency in the utilization of holidays that is necessitating the second set of provisions in the bill. The last one, of course, doesn't come without controversy. And I think that we're all free to engage in the political banter that I see happening in the chamber. No one can ever resolve that matter between us in this country. No one. No one can resolve that matter between us in this country. Because people will try as much as they can to extol the virtues of Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah and define him as a founder of this country, the founder of the nation. Others who equally played a role will continue to make an effort to position themselves. Many of them are no longer there, but their children and grandchildren will put up a fight That is perfectly understandable. But the facts of history remain the facts of history. The facts of history remain the facts of history. So I urge colleagues to accept for this bill to go through the second reading so that we can move to the consideration stage and we can pass this legislation without much controversy. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I urge members to vote in favor of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Majority Leader. Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the motion is carried. The public holidays and commemorative days Amendment Bill 2025 is duly read for the second time.
An act to amend the Public Holidays and Commemorative Day Act 2001 at 601 to provide for Shark Day and the first day of July as statutory public holidays and for related matters.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader. Do we take item numbered 19?
Granted, so Mr. Speaker, item 19.
Honourable members, we now move to item 19 on the order paper at page 5. The Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Amendment Bill 2025 at consideration stage. Clause 1, Chairman of the Committee.
Amendment proposed.
Section 3 of Act 601 amended.
Chairman of the Committee.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 2, delete and replace with 2, where a public holiday provided under Section 1 is to be observed on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday, the President may, by executive instrument, declare the public holiday to be observed on the Friday immediately following the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Mr. Speaker, the justification for the proposed amendment is that the 2 clauses that are found in the bill appear to be repetitive. And so, after deliberations, the committee came to the conclusion that we delete 1 and simply replace the entire clause with clause 2.
So what will be the new rendition?
So the new rendition is the quotation we now have which reads as follows: 2, where a public holiday provided, no, sorry. I'm talking about clause 1. So we would now have, we'll delete and replace. So it's a deletion and replacement. You delete 1 and replace the entire clause with 2. And so the quotation we find is what ought to be captured
so
as...
which one are you deleting and which one are you replacing? Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what my chairman is trying to simply do is to say that in section 1 subclause 2, after the word "the," continue with Friday immediately following that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and then delete the entire A and B, so that the new rendition will now be where a public holiday provided under section 1 is to be observed on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday, the president may, by executive instrument, declare the public holiday to be observed on the Friday immediately following that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, as the new rendition. And the simple reason, Mr. Speaker, is at the committee we agreed that this holiday should be earned before it is observed. So, for example, if there's a holiday on Tuesday, if you try to bring it on a Monday, that means you are enjoying the holiday before it is really earned. So you should rather enjoy it after the day. So the holiday is on Tuesday. You should enjoy it after that Tuesday comes to pass, so that we push it on Friday. So if it is also Saturday and Sunday, you should enjoy it on a Monday. So you should earn it first before you enjoy it. So that warranted that if that's the case, we delete both A and B in subsection 2, so that we then add after the day in line 3 of subsection 2, Friday immediately following that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So that's the sense of the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Nyimedo.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I support the proposed amendment. So, Mr. Speaker, what we are, as had been explained by the Minister, as we have it, the substituted holidays, subclause 3, subclause 1 and 2 was divided into 2, and we are doing away with the A and B, and then we'll substitute it with Friday immediately following that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So as we requested, the new rendition would be where a public holiday provided under subsection 1 is to be observed in a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or Thursday, the President may, by executive instrument, declare the public holiday to be observed on the Friday immediately following that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, honourable members, the proposal is to delete clause 1 2A and make B part of clause 2. Honourable members, as many as are in favour of the proposed amendment to clause 1 2, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 1 2 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, clause 2.
Section 7 of Act 601 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Amendment proposed. Subclause 3. Delete and replace with quote, where a public holiday provided under.
So your proposal is to clause 1 subclause 3.
Subclause 3
of clause 1.
Yes.
Very well.
So delete and replace with 2, quote, where a public holiday provided under Section 1 falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, the President may, by executive instrument, declare the public holiday to be observed on the Monday immediately after the Saturday or Sunday, unquote. Mr. Speaker, the rationale or justification...
So, Honourable Member, the proposal is to delete all and the whole of the B.
Yes.
And then make the rest of the A part of the substantive clause 3.
That is so.
Very well. Yes, Honourable Nymedu.
Mr. Speaker, I second the proposed amendment that has been made by the chairman. Mr. Speaker, the effect of this is for us to have bank of holidays, so that the holidays would fall. If it's Saturday, we enjoy the Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday will be added. Then we'll have the bank of holidays, as we have had previously, to have it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I support the proposal made by the chairman. Thank you.
Honourable members, the question therefore is, as many as are in favour of the amendment proposed to clause 1 sub clause 3, say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, clause 1(3) as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Clause 3, amendment proposed. Delete.
Clause 3.
Yes. Mr.
Then let me
Speaker.
put a question on the whole clause 1. Before. Honourable members, clause 1, as variously amended. The question is, those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Yes.
I think the next amendment is part of the subclause, is another subclause. So if we can finish that and put that together.
That is why I am asking whether it is
No,
clause 3 or...
There is subclause 1, which we didn't amend, then subclause 2, subclause 3, and now he is proposing subclause 4.
Chairman of the committee,
Chairman.
Please, because the proposed amendments are not advertised, so you must specifically mention the item that you are seeking to amend. Because you said you are amending clause 3, suggestive of the fact that there's no advertised amendment on clause 2. Clause 2 is not being amended. That is why I have decided to put the question on the entire clause 1 as variously amended. Do you still have amendment on clause 1?
No, Mr. Speaker, we don't.
Honourable Kwame Anyimadu, which subclause is under amendment?
Mr. Speaker, I thought that he is now on subclause 4, according to the original bill, which is talking about the Eid al-Fitr.
Is there any